joining me, we have Mary Rose Carroll, and she is here to talk with us today a little bit about the High Country Writers, which sounds like a very neat organization. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you for asking me. I think this is the first time High Country Writers has been on your program, and I'm pleased I'm able to be here today.
Absolutely, a little debut, if you will. We're really excited to learn a little bit more. Talk with us about the High Country Writers and how it got started.
Well, it got started in 1995 by one particular woman, Maggie Bishop, who was a romance writer. And she wanted to get together with other romance writers and, you know, sharpen what they were doing.
Right.
Well, it evolved from that. And so since that time, we've had 320 presenters, which means people coming and talking before our group. And these are open to the public. You don't have to be a member to come to listen to one of the guests speaking. And you know, this is Poetry Month. Last year at this time, we had the Poet Laureate of North Carolina, Joseph Bethanti. He came, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful speaker. It was actually Valentine's Day. So he concentrated on love poems, is what he had, very nice, and told us about he and his wife, how they got together. But that's one of the things that we do. There is a meeting going on right now, and this is open to anyone. Anyone can come. We have dues that I think are too cheap, really. $15 a year to belong. Wow. I think it's too cheap. Okay. We're going to be discussing that as a group.
That's a bargain, I tell you what.
Isn't that a bargain? But today they're having a workshop that's being led by Judy Gary, who is with the university, and she's teaching people how to hone their skills on point of view when you're writing. Now, this is a group that's got all levels of members. Some people have never published. They're just starting to write. Some people, Peggy Stern, if you go on Amazon.com, Peggy has 35 books on that site. Now, she is a great local gal who has traveled a lot. So she puts together Appalachian, knowledge and dialect with a lot of worldly information as well, and very, very well wrought, and they pull you along. There's a lot of drama in her books. So we've got people like Peggy. We have our one real gem, and I say this because she's going to be 100 years old next October.
Wow.
And we're going to have a really big birthday party for this member. She was, Nora Percival was born in Russia before the revolution. Wow. And she has written about that. She's written about living through the Depression. She's written about the war years in New York. Most people have a story. You get to a certain age, and a lot of us are a certain age. We have this story, and we'd like to put it into an indelible form. So it won't just be vapor, lost when we're gone. So that's a lot of it. And so these workshops are helping people learn how to do it. Then we also have presenters who are our guests, who the last one was Bill Barr, who came from Blowing Rock. And Bill is a marketing specialist, and he was talking to us how to sell your book. So we go at it from all different angles. How you write it, how do you sell it? Where do you go? We cover a lot of area that way. And we just got, through the Watauga Arts Council, a grassroots grant. And this, with $15, you can't go very far on that budget. We got a grant that is allowing us to bring a speaker from out of the Watauga area. And May 22nd, we are going to have a TV personality, D.G. Martin, who's on public TV on Charlotte, and he presents Book Watch. And on Book Watch, he discusses the North Carolina authors and how their settings in North Carolina affect their writing, their books, the locale. So he really has this vast knowledge of North Carolinian authors as well as literature itself. And he has a column that is in 40 newspapers across the state. Wow. So D.G. Martin is coming May 22nd. Now, all of these meetings happen at the public library. They always happen on a Thursday because we don't want to forget what day of the week it is. It's going to be Thursday. Yeah. Yes. And they always start at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And so he will be presenting at actually 10:30 that particular day, May 22nd. So that's the sort of thing that we do. And,
Right.
and one other big thing coming. We are starting to put together our second anthology of high country writers. Now, this you have to be a member, but for $15, who can't afford to be a member?
Exactly.
Okay, all right. You have to be a member, and there may be another requirement, but you can put in your writing, and it will be judged, and if it's accepted, it will be edited and published in this volume.
Very exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, how many people would you say are involved right now?
Over 60.
Wow, okay.
Yes, yes. It's amazing the number, well, I'll tell you from my experience, I'll be very honest. I was married to a man who was a poet and a professor of English, and so literature was on one side. I was a big outdoor public sculptor on the other side. If you work with metal and public sculpture, you get to a point often where it's toxic to you, and you have to drop it.
Right.
You know, you get skin cancer, you get, problems with your throat and breathing. So I had to shift to writing, which is what my husband had always been. And this group has helped me get into the writing, and I've been a contender for a national prize. So I couldn't have done it without high country writers. I really couldn't have.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say has been your favorite part about being involved in the High Country Writers?
The people, the members. I mean, we are like a family, and we have split up all of the duties, the chores, if you will. And we have Reese Strasser, who will always take care of our membership and keep that straight. The president, last year, you may know Bill Kaiser had been our president.
Right.
Dear, dear man who used to write for the triplet community and has written a series, a trilogy of books that are set back at the time of Civil War in Appalachia. And so that will change, but then we have Nita Lehman as she goes by, who does our journal. And she edits the journal. Every month we come up with a new journal, which is a beautiful production, and it lists who's our speakers and has some writing by some of our members. So all of these people are just terrific. And Judy Gary had my job last year. The vice president really is the dray horse, carries the work through the year,
Right.
of setting up all of the presenters and all the rest. And Judy is terrific. She is an editor herself. She is part of English Publishing. They put out books. So you see, it's mentoring by the people who have the experience for the people who are moving up in their level of knowledge.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, if you are a complete and total beginner writer, still welcome.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. We have had college students, Caldwell Community College student. We have one chap who's from Australia, who's part of our group. He's the computer geek. So
wonderful.
yes, and a couple professors who have recently retired from the university and are moving into writing. Yeah.
Sounds great. Now, can you tell us what a workshop might be like? What is that experience like for
Well,
students?
it varies, but I have been in Judy's workshops, and being a teacher at ASU, she of course has the visuals up on the wall, that slideshow that's projecting the images for you, and she will give you a writing assignment, and you go through the writing assignment, and then you will get feedback from her on that writing assignment. But she will show you, for instance, the one I had, she was going on a historical novel. Well, the one thing she told us is, you do not make a mistake, because she said every reader out there has access to the internet. And if you say this is the 15th century and it wasn't invented by then, they will know. She said they will count coup on you.
Right.
So those are some, and also, you don't have something in the 15th century that is in the right locale, but the wrong vegetation. Right. You've got to get things lined up so they're accurate. So the world you're building is actually a viable virtual building. We didn't have that word virtual years ago, but that's what works, that people can see it in their head and, of course, feel that this is a gripping story. They want to read it. They want to continue it. They don't want to put it down.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And of course, there's always the little icing on the cake if you can sell some of your books. And we have members who have been at the mall. We're at Todd General Store, you know, different various locations around town, Valley Cruises Fair, where they will be selling their books. And Bill Kaiser, if you see Bill Kaiser, you'll always know Bill Kaiser because he'll have his leather hat, and he'll have his bolo tie, and his leather vest. Yeah.
Easy to spot.
Yes, exactly.
Now, what would you say you have learned about your writing? How has it changed since you started being a part of this?
Well, simply this. I had a story, and I thought I just needed to get it outside of me, get it out of my head. And then I realized, no, that's not compelling enough. I have to shape that the way I would sculpture before, shape it so it's not only clear to the person reading it, but that it's going to be interesting, gripping, it's going to grab them.
Right.
And there are ways to do that. There are ways when you get to the end of a certain part that you leave a catch hook that'll carry the person on. They'll want to see the next part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Very neat. Well, it sounds like a great thing to be a part of. Now, if someone is interested in participating, do they just need to show up at a workshop? Or
They could do that. They could show up, and if they don't know the dates, if they don't see it listed somewhere, they could call the library. But it's always the second and fourth Thursday of the month. For instance, we are going to have a new meeting the 10th, next Thursday. And we're going to have a woman who has had a difficult life experience. And she's going to be taught, she's made a book out of it, What Doesn't Kill You. You know, she's going to be talking about how to take tragedy and make it into a novel. And especially in her case, she's trying to help people who may have life-threatening anxiety. And I've had nurses say her book should be a must-read for people in the profession that will counsel people. So that's the 10th. And then the 24th, we have this Australian chap, Tony Rankin, who's come here to, actually he lives in Hickory. He's come here from Australia, and he's going to have, and this is an important part of our group, we critique each other's work. Okay. We have his writing. It's on our website for our members. We can download it, we read it, we critique it, we meet together, we give him the feedback that he needs to improve his writing. And so you can go to the website and you can see the dates for this, or you can call the library, or you can go at 10 o'clock on the second or fourth Thursday of the month. And then these workshops that's going on today, these are new. These are now the first Thursday of the month.
Okay.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a great thing to be a part of. Thank you so much for coming in to talk with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm so glad to meet you and to be able to share the news of this great group with people.
Absolutely. And $15 a month. I think everybody needs to join. Definitely.
Right.
Well, we will be back right after these messages with more of the Mountain Television Network.